Yes, everybody, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is Tactical Preview United versus West Ham. Now, as the title says, this is lose and forget about top four. Not just in my opinion, but also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out and said basically we've got 15 points to get what we need to do, and that basically leaves us one game as a margin for error. And I think everyone's probably looking at that City game and going, well, we can't let Liverpool win the league, can we? So that's our margin for error. We need 15 points. Basically lose any game other than the City game and we can kiss goodbye to that chance. So United currently have lost 4 out of our last 5 games in all competitions. It's the worst run of this current Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reign after the blistering start that we made. It's a little on the disappointing side. Can we explain it? Individual games, yeah, you can, but over the course of a 5-6 game sample size, it starts to look pretty bleak, and Solskjaer definitely needs to find a solution. I'm not saying Ashley Young is the sole reason that we've lost all of those games, but he has a factor in some of those games, and I think that with him missing this weekend and also with Luke Shaw missing this weekend, there's a potential opportunity for somebody to step up and take that place from Ashley Young, because I don't think it'd take much, to be brutally honest with you. I really don't think it would take too much to take it away from him. Now, we are facing West Ham, and they did beat us 3-1 in the reverse fixture. West Ham have got a couple of problems of their own. They've only, out of 16 away games so far this season, taken 15 points, less than a point a game. They're just not travelling very well, and I thought they were unlucky against Chelsea last week. I thought, bar Hazard's individual brilliance, they probably deserved something out of that game, which kind of worries me a little bit, because if they think that they deserve more and they feel like they can get a little bit more out of that, they might come here with a little bit of confidence tomorrow, and we really don't need that. Key player for West Ham, I think, is definitely going to be Felipe Anderson. He was an absolute nightmare previously for us. He's a guy that's been phenomenal for them this season, or about as good as you can be for West Ham, I guess. 8 goals and 4 assists for them this season. He's completing more dribbles and key passes per game than what Mane's doing for Liverpool. So he's having a pretty effective season. And it's someone that we definitely need to be looking out for, someone that we need to watch. We're going to have inexperienced fullbacks playing. They're strongest in their attack. They've got a poor defence. That's what we need to do. We need to focus on our own game, and we need to push ourselves forward into their half. And the way that we're going to do that is with Lukaku. I'm not 100% sure it'll be Rashford or Marshall that gets the start. I think the only one I could put a bit of faith in that I think is pretty much a certain starter is going to be Romelu Lukaku. And for me, it's about time he gets back into the groove and back into the bullying teams. And this is the sort of game where you go, Romelu's a bit of a flat track bully. This is what you need then. You need him to be a bit of a flat track bully here against West Ham at Old Trafford on Saturday. He's actually got a pretty good return of goals so far for United, and considering the minutes that he's played, and he's doing all right for us. He's not doing spectacular, he's doing all right. I think the starting 11 is going to be very important, and as much as I would love to see a whole host of youngsters being brought in, I don't think that's going to be the case. Starting 11 I will be going for against West Ham is as follows. Big Dave in net, with obvious reasons. I'm going to go with Dalot at right back, and I think Dalot's got the opportunity to steal Young's place. If he can tighten up defensively, can be a little bit better positionally, then I think it's his to absolutely steal away. Smalling and Lindelof at centre half, and then the one possible surprise package, I hope more than think, it could be Brandon Williams. It could also be Leo Connor. It could also, in theory, be Ethan Laird. There's a few there that are all in the mixer, and most of them actually play left and right back, so wouldn't be too much of a shock to see Dalot lined up on the left and one of them come in at the right. In midfield, I've gone for a 4-2-3-1. And I've gone with McTominay and Fred, who I thought were very good against Barcelona. I'm not going to say amazing. I thought they were very, very good. But there's another level to them that I think that they can both do more with the ball at their feet. Fred kept it nice and simple and spread the play from side to side. McTominay did a fantastic positional job and a fantastic defensive job. But there's got to be another level and another gear. For those saying we don't need to sign him and we just play him, I disagree a little bit, and I think that's in danger of getting a bit too carried away. He is limited with the ball at his feet, but he's doing a very good job when he keeps it very simple. So that's what I'd like to see him do here. I think he would work well as a number 6 alongside Fred, and then you allow the more creative players ahead of him, your Pogba, your Jesse Lingard, your Marcus Rashford, to go and do that. It could also be Tony Marshall on the left-hand side if Marcus is going to get that rest that's been so badly needed. And then up top, as I was saying, Big Rom is the one up there for me. I think that's going to be the most important things for us, is to really get amongst them. Create chances nice and early. If we're going to put crosses into the box using Delo, then that's what you want to be doing, and getting them on the front post to Big Rom. And I think that's going to be one tactic that United have got to use against them. As you can see there, league table is very, very tight. In the top 6, there's 4 of us going for just 2 spots there. There's no margin for error. Chelsea on 66 points, we're on 61 points. We can obviously claw that back with our game in hand, and also with when we play Chelsea. That's going to be a big help for us to do that. Arsenal on 63 and Tottenham on 64. There's nothing in it at all. There's absolutely nothing in this. It's going to be so tight and right to the absolute wire. Any team that can put a bit of form together is going to smash this to pieces. I have got a couple of bets for you this week, and I'm going to tell you those right now. And we are sponsored by the good chaps over at BetBull, and you can get up to £100 in social bets, free social bets, just by coming and joining us over on BetBull. The link and all the details are in the description below. Now, the bets that I'm going for this week, I've got 2 bets for you. The first one is going to be Lukaku as an anytime goal scorer, and that is 8 to 11 that you can get on that. And you can come and follow me on there at Mr. Stephen Howson as well. You can see all the bets that I'm putting on. Me and Ben put on a knacker yesterday if you'd like to check out those, but that's what I'm going for. I think Lukaku's going to get a goal. I didn't fancy him as first scorer. If you do fancy him as first scorer, you can get a little bit better odds, but I'm going to go for him as an anytime goal scorer, because there could be someone from midfield pulls one up as well, especially if Pogba's taking the penalties. You don't always know, do you, with a first scorer. And the other bet that I'm going to be going for is United to win 2-1, and you can get 7 to 1 with that currently with BetBull. So come and check those out. The links are in the description below. That's what I'm going for. And BetBull's about social betting as well. So you can come and see, and there's a bit of a chat room, so people are like, oh, we're going to cash out, we're going to keep this on, and you can see it all in there. So there's loads of backers, there's loads of top people to follow as well. It really shows you the best people to follow. It shows who they're betting on, who they're winning with, and you can literally see if anyone's winning. So if you want to follow good tipsters, don't bother signing up for any of these Facebook groups or anything like that. Get on BetBull, and they literally rank people in terms of who is winning and who's not. And as a little bit of an added incentive as well, I'm giving away a signed Marcus Rashford shirt just for coming following me on the app. So if you're over 18, you're in the UK, and you fancy a little bit of that, then come and download BetBull with the link that's in the description. Come and follow me on there, Mr. Stephen Howson, and you could be in with a chance of winning a signed Marcus Rashford shirt. Right, I'm going to head over to the questions now from the guys over on Patreon, and let's see what everybody is saying this weekend. Jabir says, which youth should come in for this game, because knowing that we've got some guys out with suspension. So as I just sort of said there, I think that the 3 that you're pretty much looking at would be Ethan Laird, Brandon Williams, Leo Connor. Fullbacks that can play left and right. Some of them prefer one more than the other, but those are the 3 fullbacks that you would expect at least one of them to be on the bench. Otherwise, you've got to ask questions. Now, Solskjaer did sort of mention Damian. He did sort of mention Marcus Rojo. And I've got to question the sense in putting either of those on. If you want to say experience, I go, okay. But ultimately, we're building for the future here, and there can't be much in it in terms of ability and suitability. There really can't be too much in it. If you've just completely cast them out the way you have, they can't be that good. And some of these youngsters are pretty damn good. Give them the opportunity. Solskjaer's had a lot of praise for the way he's played some youngsters. But now's the time to be brave and show them, throw them in, and see if we can be surprised by what they can do. We saw what Marcus Rashford did in his debut season. There's plenty of players that could actually come and do the job given the task at hand, and I would love to see them do it. Another couple you could see involved, maybe Mason Greenwood, maybe Angel Gomez. I think Angel's another one that I would like to see get more minutes before the end of the season. I think that'd be good for him. I think it'd be good for us as well, because we're lacking a real player with that sort of ingenuity alongside Paul Pogba. Potential's all well and good, but you have to get out there and get games, otherwise you never develop and you never know what a player can do. TJ, should Ole consider playing the 3-5-2 for the game and our remaining games? I think 3-5-2 is an alright option for us. I think you saw Shaw be a success at centre-half because he was up against Messi, mostly. If he's up against a 6-foot forward, someone that's going to maybe bully him, someone that's going to run the line, like Arnautovic, that's probably not a good shout for someone like Luke Shaw, because he's not going to get the better of him in the air. He's probably not going to get the best of him going shoulder to shoulder with him. But it was an inspired decision to put him alongside Messi because he's agile, he's got quick feet, and that's really what Messi's going to hurt you with. Messi's so effective because he's going up against big lump centre-halves. He's going up against people like they can dribble around no problem. So putting a fullback up against him was actually a really good shout. The risk you run is if someone starts putting long balls over the top or hitting direct to you, it can be a little bit of an issue. Now, that's not going to be an issue with Barcelona, so it was a really good option. Gordon says, obvious question, now we've finally got rid of the liability at right back for a game or two. Who comes in? I'd love it to be Laird. I really would love it to be Laird because I think he's a complete fullback. I think he's absolutely banging. I just think it'll be Delot, unfortunately. Connor, we're both young and short suspended. This is a real test on Ole to involve the youth and show he means what he says. I totally agree. Nico says, if Paul Mitchell is not available, who do you trust to do the sensible recruiting we need in the summer? You would hope that a combination of the likes of Mike Phelan, Solskjaer, Carrick, and the current recruiting staff, because there's a significant number of them, have gone and done their homework on who they want, the style of football that they would like to play, and the players they think could play that sort of style, and are having meetings with the head scouts from all the different regions and trying to find and identify those players. And then it's up to Woodward, I guess, to go and recruit them. In terms of the recruitment, it's a case of talking to agents and talking to clubs. It's not like, you don't have to take them out for dinner and try and tickle the nuts and stuff. There's like a pretty straightforward thing that you'd hope Woodward doesn't mess up. To be fair, he's proved himself capable of getting certain transfers over the line, certain ones that you probably wouldn't have expected us to do necessarily. The problem is that we tend to overpay for them. So what you want is a director of football that's known and respected across Europe. So when he sits there and goes, "You're not worth that, mate," then the player doesn't go, "Well, who are you to tell me I'm not worth that?" He goes, "Oh, all right, that guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe I'm not worth that. Maybe I'll agree on that." And that's what we don't have at the moment. And I think we get took advantage of because of that. Also because people know that we pay money. Jack says, do you think Young can win despite missing such a key player in Young? I think we'll be all right, mate. Nebby, how can we win the midfield battle? I don't think their midfield's great. I know there's a lot of hype around Declan Rice, and I think it is that. I think it's hype. Mark Noble is not a fantastic footballer. I think their midfield's ordinary. I think, if anything, their attack allowed to play, as we saw against Chelsea, they can make it an end-to-end basketball game almost, and that's a bit of an issue sometimes. So I would hope that we don't do that. I hope that we are able to hold possession a little bit better than we have recently and put it into the channels for the likes of Marcus and Jesse to get on the end of. Yeah. Van der Sar, someone's mentioning for director of football. Dutch Puck said, it feels like this would be the perfect game for Chong or Greenwood. Do I think any of them will play, or will Ole try Sanchez and Mata instead? Mata's an option, I guess, but I would love to see Mata. If we're going to bring Mata in like this, it's got to be Mata alongside Pogba as number 8s. I think that could work brilliantly, especially in a game like this where I do expect West Ham to sit off and probably park the bus and try and look to counter quickly. You're going to want someone to break them down. That's why I thought Angel Gomez wouldn't be an option, wouldn't be a bad option, and also Mason, if possible. Mason could be involved in the under-18s derby in the morning, though, so if he's not, then that might be an indicator that he's involved in the first team, because if he's available for the 18s, there's 100% certainty he plays. Luke says, option to play Angel in a game like this with vast amounts of possession. Again, yeah, I think everyone's sort of thinking of the same thing, aren't they? And I think Paul and Dave will possibly wait to see how we get on in the summer. Then if no satisfactory signings are brought in, they may decide to jump ship. They may also be waiting to see if we get Champions League football or not. I think that's a very real prospect. Any chance we'll see some youth and rest a few players for the second leg, maybe rest Rashford if he still has a knock. That's an interesting point that I did consider but didn't put major consideration into. If the management team think that there's a genuine, and if they've got to be honest with themselves here and say, I don't think we can play strong permanently on all fronts. If they honestly believe that they can go to Barcelona and get something, then yes, maybe rotate. And maybe, like you've mentioned there, Rashford is the guy that you rotate. He's the one that needs a break, and he's the one that's probably likely to hurt Barcelona most with the physical attributes. I thought he had the beating of PK all day, but I don't think we was getting the ball to him in the right areas enough or putting it in behind for him to chase, because when it was almost unfair. He was getting there with having a 5 metre deficit before he even started running. So if you can get the right balls into the right areas behind that Barcelona defence and put Marcus onto him, he's going to get an opportunity, and then he's just got to get it on target, and I think we'll be fine. If you think you can do that, then yeah, rest. If you know, you go, do you know what? We had our best roll of the dice. We're probably not going to turn Barcelona over in their own park. Maybe we'll give a load of debuts out. Maybe we'll throw in a couple of lads that have been rested lately. Maybe throw in the likes of Mata and people like that. But we have to finish in the top 4. We have to. So you have to put a strong 11 out. You have to put an 11 out, not one that you think can do a job, one that's going to make sure it gets 3 points. We have got a poll going as well. If you head over, I think it's this side, and hit the I button, you'll see. We've got the question going on, will United finish in the top 4? As you can see, the league table's tight like a tiger. Will we finish inside the top 4? I think we're relying more on how crap some of the teams are in there. Tottenham without Harry Kane could come out, even though they've actually got a better win ratio with Harry Kane in there. And I also think that there's a good shout. Arsenal could come out of there too, even though they're not technically in there. With all the away games that they've got coming up. Chelsea have done themselves some pretty good favours, I guess, there by winning, and they're now 5 points ahead of United. We've just got to make sure we turn them over, and obviously we claw them back a little bit, and we do have a game in hand on those two. Three-headed Hydra, does Ollie see Delo as a right winger or a right back? I hope it's as a right winger. I really do. Clemens, why is Ollie talking about Darmian and Rojo at fullback instead of Laird and Williams, only hinting at maybe using them? I hope it's just to throw everyone off the scent a little bit, because it's bollocks, innit? You've got some real good prospects coming through there. You've got to give them an opportunity. If everyone's mentally checked out on Rojo and Darmian, why are we being sentimental about it? Fucking bin them. Just bin them. Play the youth. Ali says, ever since Ollie's full-time appointment, do you think he hasn't really trusted the youth? Why do I think he hasn't really trusted the youth? I don't know. I don't know, because he did something super ballsy in Paris where he brings on Chong and he brings on Mason, and we managed to get the job done with them in the team. And then since then, there's been opportunities for Ghana, there's been opportunities for Mason, there's been opportunities on the bench that no one's been given, and he's playing all the old heads, and you think, is there something in this? We sort of mentioned it with Sanchez. Is there something in his contract that if he's fit, he has to play? Was there something in some of these contracts that they need to be on the bench or in the matchday squad or something? Because otherwise, everything else doesn't really make a lot of sense. Ollie made all the right noises about the youth, but his actions are quite Mourinho-like sometimes, worryingly. Chicharito returns tomorrow. Do I think he could have gone on to do better than he has since leaving United, or of the clubs he's been at? Probably been his level for regular starts. Probably been at his level, to be honest. He was a good player. He was never world-class, was he? He was a great option off the bench. You can't have two world-class strikers that start every week and then two world-class strikers on the bench, because they know how good they are and they're like, listen, I'm not sticking around here for nothing. Play me or I'm off. Whereas if you have a blend, maybe you have an old... Look at 99 almost. You have a player in Solskjaer who wasn't good enough to start week in, week out for us all the time. He was an excellent rotation option, and he was a brilliant option off the bench because of the attributes that he had as a person coming off the bench. Then we had Teddy Sheringham at 33, 34, 35, was a top option to have as a rotational striker. Not going to demand to be in the team every single week. Brilliant rotation option. You've got to have that blend. Another option would be someone like, you know, what we've had in the past with Danny Welbeck even. Someone that doesn't expect to play every week, isn't going to kick off if he's not playing every week. And then you need your world-class forwards as well. So I think you've got to have a blend. People try and, like, make ultimate teams, don't they? And it doesn't work like that. You've got to be blends. You've got to find people that are going to be happy to sit on the bench a bit now and then. It's a squad game. What are my thoughts on Declan Rice? I thought he was playing well. I was pretty quietly impressed with the sort of stuff that he was doing. But the people saying he's got to start for England, he's got to start for United, I think are just getting well carried away. I think the links with him to United are simply because he played for England, and he's nowhere near the level we need. I mean, is he much better than McTominay? McTominay, if he was playing regularly for West Ham, would probably look every bit as good, I think. I haven't really heard anything about it, but am I right to be scared thinking Liverpool go and get De Ligt in the summer, says Ruben? Oof. It's a frightening prospect, isn't it? That if Liverpool do go and get De Ligt. It is a frightening prospect. I would hope he's out of their price range. I don't think they've got the capability to be spending probably what they're going to need to on him, as well as what they've recently spent on Van Dijk. Hilarious, considering Klopp's stance on spending money on transfers previously. Runak says, I mentioned we should go for Koulibaly, but would it be sensible and long-term strategy to go for Alderweireld and someone like Upamecano? This provides strength in depth as well as first-choice centre-backs. I see what you're saying now with Alderweireld and Upamecano, thinking you've got one that's got a couple of years left at the top and then one that's going to have years and years left at the top. The truth is, the fan base, I mean, as much as we'd like to think that we all want to see young players develop and that, people don't. You see what people say with Marcus all the time. It's an absolute piss take the way people talk about him sometimes. We need to go for Koulibaly because we need a leader right now. If you went for Koulibaly and Alderweireld, I wouldn't be disappointed. I think it's showing me in business. I think we really need to do that. Vebby says, looking forward to Chicharito at Old Trafford again. Not overly bothered, to be honest. One of my favourite OT moments when he scored in the first minute against Chelsea in the title decider. Was that when he scored with his face? Or was that in the Charity Shield he scored with his face? He was a good player, like I said. He was a good player. Respect him, but not overly asked one way or another. Brian, could this game be a trap game? Could this be a trap game? Classic one we should win, but could effectively end our season and put causing Pogba, De Gea to flee and putting doubt in the man of Martial, Marcus, etc. I'm worried. Maybe, yeah. I mean, like I said on the title, this is a must-win game. United have to win as many games as we can. I think we could do with winning 4. Solskjaer says we need to win 5. I think we're going to be okay if we won 4, as long as one of those is the Chelsea game. I think we'll be okay with that because I think everybody else is still going to drop points. Donald says, what is the rate that Rashford shoots on target, especially from free kicks? I know he has good technique and gets a lot of movement, but he's always 20 rows deep into the stand. Would I keep him on set pieces or put Pogba back on him? I don't know. I'd have to go look into his free kicks. His striking, last time I checked, was around about the 15% mark, which is probably about 3 to 5% lower than where you really want it. But his expected goals is higher than what he's actually is lower than what he's actually getting, which means that he's scoring more than people expect him to from the places that he shoots from. So it's 50-50, isn't it? Like, all right. We've actually just watched all his goals for United this morning, and some of them are fantastic. He's not having as many shots in the box as he used to. I think United have to start. It's going to be a total transformation, I think, in style of play. In the summer for next season with the full pre-season under Ole, because I think he likes to hold possession more than this team shows. When you start to hold possession more, you get a bit closer, and I'd like to see us scoring the sort of goals City score where we get to the byline and we pass it back into the box, not a cross. It's a flat, nice, easy pass towards a penalty spot that someone puts away and everyone goes, oh, it's fucking tapping. I do not give a shit. It's a goal. That's what matters. It says 1-0. Doesn't say half a nil, does it? Because you didn't score a wonder goal. They all count. So United have got to be better percentage-wise with what we do. And the way to do that is to cut in along the byline and pass it in and get numbers in the box to get on the end of them things. Why did I choose to start Marcus over Martial? Do I think the best part of selling Fellaini is everyone notice how shite Young is instead? Why do I choose to start Marcus over Martial? I just think I wasn't impressed with Martial when he came off the bench the other night. And I think he offers a lot more movement. I think Martial's quite static. I think he stands still, waits for the ball quite a lot, whereas Marcus is constantly moving across the front line. And we don't see Marcus and Jesse enough. From what I hear, they're unbelievable in training together. And I'd like to see more of them in the match because they look out for each other. And I'd like to see a bit more of that. So that's why. Koulibaly is a rip-off, says Tony V. Transfer fees haven't made sense for years, so I'm not too worried about them. Thank the Lord Young is out tomorrow, says Zach. Louis says, I don't care about tap-ins as long as we get in those positions and can give the balls. Exactly, it doesn't matter how we score. Fred was class against Barca. I thought he was very good, yeah. Thoughts on Martial lately since Jose left? Have we seen bad habits creep back in? I think he was given a little bit of freedom by Ole, and I thought he looked fantastic in a few games and he was allowed to dribble. I don't know if it's Van Gaal or Jose, but he seems to take up that position on the left wing and not want to move from it. And I think if he drifted more, he had a bit more energy about him, I think he'd probably get on the end of more stuff. Warren says, why do I think Pogba goes missing in big games, and if Herrera goes, how shall we replace him? If Herrera goes, I think you change tactics altogether and go for a more ball-playing midfield three. And why do I think Pogba goes missing in big games? This is the same thing everybody throws at people, is that, that guy goes missing in the big games, that goes missing in big games. Well, in big games, they're a big team as well, and are usually a good team. And a good team, you can usually spot your traits and stop them. And if a good team can spot your traits and stop them, know how you're going to hurt them, like PSG did with Pogba, they can slow you down and they know the best ways to hurt you. A smaller team just goes, everyone's a nightmare, and that's when a good player will run riot. Ronaldo used to get that flung at him all the time. Oh, never shows up in a big game. Well, they double marked him, but normally if they double mark that guy, Ronaldo, we had Rooney that could hurt you, Scholes that could hurt you, somebody else that could hurt you. At the moment, you take Pogba out of the game and it kind of kills us. So I'd like to see a Mata alongside him, or even an Angel Gomez alongside him, another playmaker alongside Pogba. You take Pogba out of the game, this guy's going to hurt you. Imagine it's Pogba and Neves. You're not taking both out of the game, I don't think. And if you do, maybe you leave Marcus. So that's what United have got to have. You've got to have more options in there. Let's have a quick look at... let's have a quick look at what Ole is saying in terms of presser this morning. So what Ole has said is we want top 3, top 4 is also our aim. If we don't get them, 15, but we should aim for 15 points. So good to see that the boss is thinking that we're going for 3rd, not 4th. Ole also said we don't have fullbacks this week. I don't like that quote. Not too many times we've lost Luke and Ashley through suspension. Antonio's still not fit. Maybe Matteo will be available for a bench, and Rojo has been training for a while. And we've got Jones, who could also play there. We've also got fullbacks, actual fullbacks, internationals, youth level. Matic is back fit, that's a bonus. Alexis is still out and has been training for a week. Herrera is allegedly still out as well. Ole mentions on that, he goes, Ander is still out, he won't be available. I doubt Nemanja will be available due to his injury, maybe because he's a worry, but he wants to join in and help his teammates. He mentions on Ander, he's been working hard to get fit from his injury he sustained against Liverpool. He's got a different one here in training. There's contract talks, that's ongoing. I really can't comment on what he's deciding. And then finally he goes, I don't know how they've been in the last few talks. They've let him focus on his fitness. Maybe the future might have been worrying him, and maybe that's part of the reason he's injured. That's a weird line. Who knows? Hopefully he can be available for Chelsea and City, but I'm not sure. There you go. That is it from me this week. Remember to go and check out BetBull in the description below. If you'd like to win a signed Marcus Rashford jersey, totally free to enter as long as you're over 18 and in the UK, come and download BetBull. The link is in the description, and you could find yourself winning that jersey. It's going to be open for the whole of April, so you've got plenty of time, but I better hurry up about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one after the game tomorrow. Laters.